Hi, I'm DL. Welcome to Om Practice, where you can be at home in class. This is Tranquil Yoga Stretch, and I'll be your instructor today for the next half hour. So this course is a mixture of breathwork, stretch, and meditation. So let's begin in a comfortable seated position. This can include sitting in a chair if you prefer. If you're comfortable on the floor, in whatever fashion you want to sit is fine. Let's place the hands in Gyan Mudra, so that's taking the thumb and the four fingers together. The rest of the fingers are straight and relaxed. And place those over your thighs or knees. Sitting up nice and tall on your sits bones. And just begin to tune in and notice your breath in this moment. It might be short and shallow. Maybe it's already long and relaxed. Just notice if the breath changes just by virtue of you paying more attention to it. And allowing yourself to begin to center into your half hour of practice. Letting go of whatever it took to get you here. Any of the challenges from earlier in your day. Just let them go with each exhalation. Let them drain and drop off of you, off the top of your head and around the mind, off of your shoulders, down the back and arms. And with each exhalation, feeling the mass of your body connected to the ground or chair. Supported. Let's now move into a few rounds of alternate nostril breathing. So, in case you've never done this before, I'll just describe. So, you're going to close your right nostril with your thumb, and then you're going to exchange as you're breathing with your pinky finger to close the left nostril. And I might not be mirroring that, I'm not sure how it's coming out for you. But it's so thumb to the right nostril and pinky to the left. The middle fingers, the two middle fingers, can rest at the third eye point at the forehead, if that's comfortable for you, but it's not necessary. And also some people use the ring finger instead of the pinky, and that's fine too. It's mostly just what works for you and what's easy. The important thing is the breathing. So what happens is you will close your right nostril and you'll breathe in through the left. You'll hold the breath for a moment, then you'll switch and close your left nostril and then exhale through your right. Now breathe in through your right nostril. Hold a moment, close your right nostril, and then breathe out through the left. So that's one cycle. Let's repeat that a couple more times. So breathing in through the left. Hold for a moment. Change nostrils, exhale right. Breathe in through the right. Hold for a moment. Change nostrils. Exhale through the left. Breathe in left. Hold for a moment. Switch and exhale. Inhale right. Hold for a moment. Switch. Exhale. Release and inhale through both nostrils. And just notice any effects or sensations that you recognize after practicing that breath. We didn't do it for very long today, just as a little sample. So now let's move into some simple stretching and movement. So let's come to all fours in what is a cat-cow. So what I'd like you to do as you're moving into this position, before you just boom, just go into this shape, I want you to feel the weight on mostly your knees and your feet and not as much on your hands to begin. Okay, and if it's uncomfortable to be back on your toes, and it is for some people, then just you can be on the tops of your feet. And actually, let's go down to child's pose to start. So we'll let the hips fall back towards the heels. The arms are long in front of you, but don't think about separating them away from the body. You want to keep the shoulders connected into the body and just reach long. Now here, what I'd like you to do is breathe down both sides of your spine. And as you exhale, imagine that breath moving up the center of the spine and out the crown of the head. So breathing in, down both sides of the spine. Exhaling through the center of the spine and out the crown of the head. Good, and with each breath, feel the tissues along the back body softening and opening up and away and around. Continue to breathe. Relax. Soften. Now what I'd like you to do is, without coming up, I want you to push your knees in towards the mat and away from each other. And just feel that response that happens in the back. So you might feel certain muscle groups tighten as a result. What I'd like you to see if you can sense is the center of the core moving up back towards the spine, as if lifting the body. There's a response of the back that moves up towards the ceiling as the knees move away from each other. So instead of if you want to just look for a moment, instead of lifting the head as a disconnected entity to the body, what I'd like you to do is use that movement of the knees pressing down and away from each other to have the spine move, and then the head comes up as a result of that relationship. Then you can come into all fours, and it might be a totally different experience. Now notice that my elbows are bent and my wrists are at a very wide angle here, as opposed to a 90-degree angle where you're kind of pushing away from the floor. I want you to be a little lighter in your angle, a little wider. And then you can, instead of pushing and locking your arms, you can allow your spine to come through the arms, and the chest can open a little bit. Okay? And then you can begin to arch and curl the back in cat-cow. So we're exhaling as we arch up or round up, and inhaling as we come through. Exhaling around, and this can be at your own pace. In fact, I'd really like you to be listening to your own sense and your own body, and how fast or how slowly it feels like moving at this time. The other thing you can do is, as you start to move and as you start to warm up, you can become more organic and less rigid in the shape. Begin to find other ways that the spine likes to articulate besides just cat-cow. The spine also likes to make C curves and other shapes. So be free in your movement and free in your exploration of stretching. The more tension, and I mean not tension, not the bad kind of tension that we don't want, but the good kind of tension that allows you to stretch through something. Use that. Find places in your body that want to feel some sensations, opening and some release. Breathing with the movement. Playing with your weight as it moves over your hands, maybe back to your feet. Maybe now your toes can start to get involved as well. Good. I'm going to turn myself around here just to face you. What we're going to do now is, from cat-cow, you are going to bring one leg out to the side. Now, you don't want the leg too far behind the hip. It would be better to have it a little bit in front of the hip as opposed to right at or beyond in back. Okay? So go ahead and find where that's comfortable for you. And you might already feel something through the leg. If this is enough for you, then you can just stay here. But as you might want to explore, you can begin to, again, do some cat-cow movements. Breathing in as you come through with the chest. Exhaling as you move up. Again, trying not to lock the elbows or the wrists. We'll repeat that a few more times. Breathing into this leg, that inner thigh. Now go ahead and flex that foot and turn towards without moving your knee. Just bring your trunk and your arms over that leg and pull your toes back towards your body. We'll hold here just for a moment or two. And rather than thinking of stretching away from yourself, think of stretching as if pulling towards yourself, everything gathering in. So you want to press your heel into the ground and bring your hip back into its socket and bring this leg back towards the other. Then let's bend this leg that's out here. We'll come onto all fours. Again, this knee doesn't move, and you can lunge into the space created between both legs. So your weight is right down the center. If this is difficult for your knee, you can always put a blanket under there. Breathe. You're welcome to take a stretch overhead, and I know you can't, the camera's cutting off my head. So you can place one arm and anchor it on that knee, and then bring the other arm up towards the ceiling and around over the head. Good. Lengthening now that opposite side of the body. Feels so good. Breathe. And then open the arm, bring the hips back towards the center. And we'll go to the other side. So coming back into your all fours position with nice soft elbows and wide ankles at your wrists. I have candles over here, so I'm going to scoot back. Okay. And then anchoring that leg out slightly in front of your hip. And either staying here if the stretch is intense enough for you, right here. Or if you feel like you want something a little deeper, you can begin to do your cat-cow with the breath. So we breathe in as we pull the chest through. And exhale as we round. Okay, let's flex those toes and slightly change our orientation of our hips without moving the knee. We'll just bring our hands around to either side of the extended leg. Pressing in with that heel, dragging the leg back towards the hip socket and the opposite hip towards that leg as well. So just breathe and try to release here. And One thing you want to watch for is how you're supporting yourself. If all of your weight is on your hands or your fingers, it's not going to be very comfortable for you. So see if you can find some support by pressing through to the ground with this knee, as well as this heel, and also using the support from the internal parts of the core and back. Good, and then let's bend that knee now, coming into a lunge and leaning towards that side. You can get your hand ready by placing that forearm on your knee, raising your arm up overhead and stretching that side of the body nice and long. Breathing into all those tight spaces on that side of the body. Good. And then opening that arm towards the ceiling, coming up. And then back towards the ground. We'll just bring the knees in. And if you can, sit on your heels. If this isn't comfortable for you, you can modify it by sitting in easy pose, placing a blanket between your buttocks and ankles, placing a blanket under your ankles, or even sitting on a block. So those are your options to make this pose more comfortable. Just want to take a time check. Yeah, it's time for our meditation. So I'm going to grab my bowl. So just settle yourself in a nice, comfortable position. And as you settle in, just get a sense of any sensations running through the body as a result of what we've done so far, from the breathing to the gentle stretching. Notice if anything has changed for you, or if there are new sensations in the body. Now go ahead and close your eyes if they're not closed already. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to strike the bowl. And what I'd like you to do is breathe normally, calmly, naturally. Listen for the sound and then follow it as long as you possibly can until the sound disappears. Okay, here we go. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om. Thank you for joining me for Tranquil Yoga Stretch. This is DL. Have a great day.